I have a vision of a plant kind of very different. I respect it very much. I think it's beautiful. I think it smells really nice, and I have a good relationship with the plant.
We'll do a full consultation with them and help them select a specific product so they get the support that they need. Because when you're 70, 80, trying to figure that out by yourself, it's incredibly daunting.
We were interested in looking at whether there were changes in the prevalence of cannabis use. So past year, past month, daily use and cannabis use disorder across time after the enactment of recreational cannabis laws. And specifically in this paper, we were interested in seeing if there were changes and if the changes were different across genders.
Welcome back to Reefer Madness, the podcast, with your hosts, Kirk Nyquist, the registered nurse, and Trevor Schufelt, the pharmacist. I'm Renee, back in the studio. This is episode 160, and it's part 2 of Kirk's adventures in Spain. In part 1, Kirk spoke with some people in Barcelona, and now we're going to visit Kirk's adventures and conversations in Madrid. Enjoy.
It's Reefer Madness, the podcast, with Trevor and Kirk.
At this point, we're traveling, just Michelle and I. We are meeting up with friends of ours, Connie and Steven. We're meeting up with them in Madrid, and that's the next couple of interviews are from Madrid. But Steven was telling me that his kids were in Spain a few years back, and they got arrested for possession of cannabis as tourists and got fined because they went to one of these clubs, purchased some cannabis, and walked out on the streets and got busted. So when you walk into these clubs, you have to show identification. So I was using my Manitoba driver's license as my identification.
Not your passport? Just curious.
No, I didn't use my passport.
You didn't want to take it away?
Maybe a little bit of cannabis paranoia. I don't know. I figured, what are they going to do with a Manitoba driver's license, right? So I used that. I was trying to use my international driver's license because I took an international driver's license with me as well. Do you guys remember those? You ever got one?
I was just going to say, if you can do it quickly, how and why did you get an international driver's license?
Because I tried to open ourselves up for potential of renting a vehicle, right?
Okay.
We went on this trip with no return date. We left Canada with a ticket to Barcelona and no ticket home. And we haven't done that in decades, to have that kind of a trip where we didn't plan a trip home. So I went to the local Canadian Automobile Association down in Brandon, and I bought an international driver's license for $35. And it's the same license I bought 43 years ago when I had an international driver's license traveling the world back in 1984 and 5, when we tripped the world, Michelle and I, during the whole Ethiopian thing, because I kept remembering hearing all those Ethiopian songs. Do they know this is as we were going to different countries, all these songs would pop. Oh, that's the American version. That's the Canadian version. Anyways, I digress. So I had the American driver's license, my international driver's license, and I presented that, and they're flipping through it. And I took them to the Spanish page. It goes, no. This is nothing. This is nothing. Need your passport. I'm not giving you my passport. So I gave them my Manitoba, and it had my picture, and it looked official. So they took my Manitoba, and they photocopied it, scanned it, and so they got my personal information. I used our Reefer Madness at Gmail account, so all the spam I'm getting is coming to our Reefer. Okay. So I'm not getting spam in my personal email address. So we're getting close to our time. We got to get to Madrid, and we are walking towards our Airbnb, and there is a Blitz club. Now, these clubs are closed a fair bit of the time, and there's no signage for these clubs. There's absolutely no signage whatsoever. And as we're walking by, and it's dark, so it's probably around 6 in the evening, 7 in the evening. We're walking back to our Airbnb. There's a trifold sort of what do you call it? Tent sign on the sidewalk, and it said the Blessed Social Club. And these guys are okay with me telling them. And this is on Diagonal Road in Barcelona. So I dipped in, and Michelle went home and went back to the Airbnb, and I meet Adriana.
Hello, my name is Andreina. I am from Venezuela. I live here in Barcelona for almost a year ago. I've been working in this club and learning a lot about cannabis. I was a regular user, but now I dispense, so it's different. You get to know the process and the different flowers. When I was not living here and not working here, I had a really stressful job. So I decided to work on myself, and I do yoga. I am a yoga teacher too, so I came to Barcelona to study to become a yoga teacher, and I became like a few months ago. So yeah, for me, like both worlds are like connected, because for me working here, I've been using cannabis for a long time, and this is like a dream job, if you could say.
Yeah.
So I changed like my whole life for a year, like working in an office and being really stressful about things that wasn't mine, and I started to change that, to look for myself and to do what I wanted to do.
So Kirk being Kirk, I assume Adriana wasn't the only one you met there. Who else were you talking to in the Blessed Social Club?
Yeah, so she was the employee of the club. I'll have a picture of her on our webpage, of her looking out her little tiny window. Now, again, all these clubs are different. So she's sitting there like a toll booth clerk. Hello, can I help you? And yeah, I'm so-and-so. Okay, come on in. So she made a phone call. I was allowed in, and I opened the door, and you acquire your cannabis from her. So as I'm acquiring my cannabis from her, I ask her for a story. So I got that story from her. And then I just wandered into the club, and there was this fella and lady sitting down, and they obviously were having a very intimate conversation. They knew each other. It was dark. There's music in the background. And me being me, I just walked up and said, hello, I'm Canadian, and I'm here to gather cannabis stories.
I'm sure that's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, well, some polite Canadian comes up, but it's my style, man. When I'm in the groove, I'll get a story. And they invited me to sit down, and this is a story I got from Ivan. And this is, I was saying, this is an interesting story, because we were just talking, and I said, do you mind if I put the recorder on? He said, sure. I said, tell me a cannabis story. And this is the story he tells me. And what I really kind of like about this story, and I said this earlier, cannabis, I mean, my relationship with cannabis is what, 50 years of knowing cannabis, and like birds of a feather, right? If you collect stamps, you see stamp collectors. When you consume cannabis, you just sort of pop into people who collect cannabis. So all my life, I've stumbled into cannabis peoples. And this is a curious story, because this man proves my point on how cannabis just draws people together.
Well, my name is Ivan. Yeah, I am from Caracas, Venezuela, living in Barcelona. But I just arrived today,
From where?
From Amsterdam,
okay.
at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
I'm going straight to work, but, well, you just keep going. But I was in Amsterdam recently, something quite interesting happened, because I was like having a day in the street, just walking. I had no light, so I needed to ask for a light to someone. That happened all the time. Back then was that I request a light to a guy, that I saw, we could vibe, So I got close. I asked for the light, and I light for the J, and I give the J to him, and we begin to speak all in English, because you are in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was that in the conversation, speaking on English, we asked each other like, where are you coming from? And I say Caracas, and he say, yo soy de Caracas también.
Yeah.
So he was a Caracanian living in Amsterdam.
Cool.
So what happened was that, I don't know, after a while meeting each other, we find out that we did graffiti, in Caracas at the same time, like 2006, and then, but in two different places on town. So in a way, it was quite a narrow possibility to meet someone that was quite of a line, with me,
Yeah.
He was from the city I was. He did graffiti at the same time I did. Well, he's a graphic designer, but I study architecture. I am a painter right now. But we were like in the same kind of line or vibe, and I believe we kind of bring people together that is in the same kind of synchronicity, and it's not about luck, you know.
Yeah.
It's about like being in the right place and the right people around you, like stuff begin to happen, you know.
With cannabis.
Yeah.
So I'm with Ivan. We were probably together for about 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. Time was slipping. But of course, being the plate Canadian, I kind of realized I got what I was looking for. These guys were obviously together before I arrived. So I figured, okay, it's time to leave, Kirk. Now, these guys were the only ones in the club. So it was very quiet, just these two people and the employee. So I slipped out. Took some pictures, so there's pictures on our website of me in front of the club, and wandered back to our Airbnb, quickly making voice memos, because Ivan told me lots of stuff that he wouldn't let me record. So I was making voice memo recordings, and I may or may not have been allegedly, enjoying the procurement of the cannabis, because I was a member of the club.
You were a member of the club?
I was a member of the club.
You didn't break any rules?
I didn't break any rules that I can find anywhere. Okay. And I almost got ran over, right? Because of course, I'm enjoying my conversation with myself and laughing and giggling with myself. And
you didn't look like a crazy person at all.
No, not at all. And I think at some point as I was reviewing my notes, going, oh, that car almost ran me over. Okay. Anyway, so I got back to the Airbnb, and I think the next day we were leaving Barcelona for Madrid.
You can go real fast on a train in Spain, can't you?
One thing about Europe is that they truly do know how to move people. And this bullet train was 300 kilometers an hour. I'm sitting there, Michelle's passed out. I'm looking up at the board. We're going 300 kilometers an hour, and it's 35 degrees out. The only reason I knew I was going 300 kilometers an hour is that I'd look out at the highway, and the cars are going 120 kilometers an hour, and we're leaving them in the dust, right? So yeah, we're on our way to Madrid. And we're going to Madrid to meet our friends. Now, Stephen, you would have met Stephen in episode 78, Buyer Beware, Buyer Bewildered. He was the fellow that was telling us how he drove his car into the ditch on his way to Edson, and in the trunk of his car he had about 3 pounds of cannabis. This was back, I think, in the 80s or 90s when he used to supplement his income by getting his friends cannabis. And so Steve tells us that story. Well, Steve and Connie and Michelle and I met in Madrid, and we spent the next 3 weeks together with them. And so we're in Madrid. We go see the castle in Madrid. We see where the royalty lives in Spain. And we go on a hunt. Steve and I go on a hunt. And we knocked on a lot of doors. And Steven's going... Like he's amazed by what I'm trying to do. He's going, Kirk, you're in Madrid and we're trying to find cannabis. I said, no, we're not trying to find cannabis. We're trying to find cannabis stories. There's a difference. So knock, knock, knock. No. Okay. Knock, knock, knock. No. Knock, knock, knock. Hold on. So we got to hold on. And they said, no, we want you to go to X Cannabis Club, which is 2 kilometers that way and whatever, right? So they mark it on our app and off we go. Well, in the meantime, I'm passing CBD stores. I'm passing like storefronts that are selling CBD products, and that is another episode. Well, we come across this other one, and they're called Biohazard, and they want me to promote their business. And if you go on the webpage, they're very, very much out there talking about their club. They're right in the heart of the city. It is your go-to spot for things cannabis. It is a quick, this is on their webpage. It is a quick walk from Metro San Benito, Madrid Centro. Talk about convenience. This club is very aggressive in its marketing.
I like your radio announcer voice.
Yeah. I can do the radio. So they basically, step into Biohazard Madrid, and you'll not just entering the Cannabis Social Club. It's a chill space where people come together to share their love for the green. Located close to iconic landmarks, the vibe inside is laid back, welcoming everybody from seasoned cannabis enthusiasts to the merely curious. The club's interior is designed for comfort, creating a relaxed atmosphere. It is not just about getting high. It's a place to kick back, have conversations, and make connections. Whether you're a pro or newbie, Biohazard Madrid is all yours, right? Exclusively. And it's sort of like, okay, now, is cannabis legal in Spain or not? Right? So we go in. Now, Steve does not consume cannabis. I kept calling him my minder. So he went with me, and
That's got to be fun, trying to keep Kirk on a leash.
it was kind of fun. But again, you got to appreciate what's going on here. I mean, you are a member of a club one at a time. So they usually let you in the door in the atrium one at a time. So here's Michelle and I going in together. Now, Steven's just letting me do my gig and not saying anything. And then I get in the door and he sneaks in behind me. So now there's two of us. And of course, well, you know, Canadians, we're polite but overwhelming. And so Steve's with me, and several times employees, this employee gets on the phone, and Simon, we're going to meet Simon here, he basically gets permission for us to go inside the club. And I get a whole bunch of stories. Google Maps will show you the density of these clubs. They're everywhere in Madrid, like they are in Barcelona. So go on Google Maps. But you have to be very careful about the club. So as soon as I step in the biohazards, I meet a young lady who calls a young man, and the young man comes back, and the young man steps back in the door, and the young man phones a manager, and the young man says, "Come on in." So Simon explains how cannabis clubs work in Madrid. So again, we're not in Catalonia anymore, right? Mm-hmm. We're now in
Madrid,
which is another province. So this is Simon.
It's Reefer Madness, the podcast.
Okay, my name is Simon. I'm still working here around 7 months, more or less. I'm fun for work here and help the people. Some people have problems for sleep and eat and ask me for that. Good. I start to smoke when I'm young with my friends. This day I never stopped to smoke.
Okay, you work and you help people with their cannabis.
Yeah, it's very good this.
Yeah, and you've been doing this 7 months.
Yes, I stay here 7 months working.
Yeah. So why do you think Spain has cannabis clubs? Why does Spain need cannabis clubs?
Because the people stay too much accustomed to buy in the street, and sometimes the product on the street is bad for the self, you know.
Okay.
And in these clubs, I think the quality is more regulated, you know. You can show the quality and you can take what you want.
Okay. Very cool. And what do you think about the CBD shops that are selling to tourists?
I think it's good. It's another merch, no?
Another way.
Another way, yes.
Am I saying this right? Alejandra?
Yeah, she's another employee. She's the young lady that we met in front, and this is the young lady that went to Victoria, British Columbia for school. And this is her story.
Hi, my name is Alejandra. I'm 22. I'm from Spain, and 1 year I went to Canada, and I was smoking with the girls, like they were Canadians, and they told me like they have like a wood one and stuff, and then I smoke it, and then the next thing I remember is that I forgot to talk in English. I only talk in Spanish, and I was like, "Chicas, ¿qué me está pasando?" and stuff like that, and they were of course laughing a lot. And then we went to the mall, and then I just ate like 2 Big Macs, then 2 burgers, like normal burgers, and then I went to home and I just like ate a big plate of macaron.
And that was in Victoria?
In Victoria.
And let me guess, you said you're 22, so that was 6 years ago?
Yeah.
So you were...
Like 16, 15.
And was that your first time?
No, it was like my third time.
Okay.
Because I started in Victoria to smoke.
And now you work in a cannabis club in Madrid? Are you from Madrid?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And what does cannabis mean to you?
I don't know, it's just... it's like a vibe for me.
Okay.
Like to be chill, open-minded, and I don't know, to be friendly and good to people.
Very
and
cool.
Love and peace.
All right, Kirk. So now we won't ask anything about your bikini line, but now we've got some Brazilian influence.
So we've walked into the atrium, and they allow us through the next door. So the next door is this long hallway. So we go down this long hallway, maybe 15, 20 meters, right? And there's a blank wall, and again, you can obviously smell the aroma of cannabis, though the air exchanges are pretty good, because I think you'll hear in the background a fan going, because they're sucking the smoke out. These guys were really, really accommodating to the point that I got uncomfortable. Well, we're in Madrid, Kirk.
Were you a little paranoid at this point, Kirk?
Well, not yet.
Okay.
But they are calling themselves biohazard.
Yes.
And they are waiving our fees. So Steve slips in with me. We show our collective driver's license. He's from Alberta. I show the Manitoba driver's license. We get in, and they take us in sort of like a U-shaped walk. We go down the hallway. We end up in a 1970s rumpus room with couches all over the place. We take that trip, and then we go back up the other side of the building, going back where we were, and we go into this walled room with a little guy with a hello. This is where the cannabis is, right? Whereas in Barcelona, the cannabis is laid out
front,
right? So
yeah.
So they gift us water. They gift us cannabis. Steve does not consume cannabis, so they gifted it us. So I acquired some cannabis, and I sat down and started talking to customers. And again, I introduced myself, told them what we're doing. And so this is two Brazilian lads that it was interesting as I'm talking to them. I didn't quite understand what they were telling me, because did they know about the clubs before they came to Spain, or did they discover the clubs when they were in Spain? But this is their story, and there's two fellas talking here from Brazil.
My name is Kyle. I'm from Brazil, and we came from Madrid for Spain for traveling for our vacation, and then we found this cannabis store for.
Have you left Spain yet?
No.
How long have you been in Spain?
I've been since 3 weeks already. So I was in Barcelona first, and then I came here I went to London, actually. I left Spain, then I went from London to Madrid. And tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, I go to Mallorca, and after Barcelona again, and then come back to Brazil.
Okay, so you were traveling Europe.
Yeah, Europe. I mean, it's mostly Spain. I just went to London because my sister lives there. So I went to visit her.
Okay.
Be careful. It's gonna. Oh no, you're weed.
Yeah, no, it's. I know. Yeah. So is cannabis legal in Brazil?
No.
No.
Not yet.
No.
No.
No. We have to find like in the black market.
Okay.
That's what you say.
Or the favelas.
Yeah.
Is it legal medically?
Not yet.
Yes.
It's starting to become.
I mean, you can plant some in your house if you have some disease or your family has somebody with the disease.
Right.
And then there's, I don't know the currency, but then you can plant or you can buy from outside. But it's because of the taxation, it's very, very expensive. They buy from outside to Brazil because it's like 60% importing tax. So mostly people prefer planting in home the cannabis for treating.
And you have to have a medical registration.
Yeah, you have to, it's a very bureaucratic process to go through, and takes long, because in Brazil everything takes long to go through and get allowed. So it's very, some families are really suffering with this, especially the low income type of family.
Does it cost money to get a medical license then in Brazil?
Oh yeah.
Yes, a lot.
And you have to prove that you have some point or some reason to grow it in your backyard, because it is not legal. But now they're starting to produce some oils to the pain, and once they're getting more results that it's good for your health, they're trying to make more analysis and tests, and it's far from being California, but it's starting.
Yes.
Okay.
Very long.
When you came to Spain, Did you know it was legal, or well, this quasi-legal that they had these lounges?
No. And I mean, we come to Spain every year, so we always normally go to Barcelona, and always in Barcelona they sell in Las Ramblas, but not legal.
Okay.
And so we already knew that was not legal, only CBD stores. So then we find a place like this place in Barcelona because one guy just gave a card to us. So we stopped buying from the street in Las Ramblas, and we got a membership in one place exactly like this. So this one we found in Google today.
Okay. And today?
Today, yeah. We were looking around in the plaza if somebody would come to us to sell, like they do in Ibiza or like they do.
But you don't want to do that in Spain.
Yes.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. I was in Barcelona a couple days ago and visiting lounges as well. This is the first lounge in Madrid that I visited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't know that there was places like this here too.
Wonderful.
So we came where we've been talking to our lads from Brazil, now going way farther afield, and depending on what you want to believe, maybe another or the birthplace of cannabis. You've got now somebody from the Indian subcontinent.
Yeah, and this gentleman, and I apologize because something happened with technology. When I got out of the club, he had typed his name in, but it didn't capture. Somehow it didn't save, so I put Indian national. This is a fella, and I sat and chatted with him for a while. This is a fella that travels the world a lot. He talks about Thailand a little bit. We get into Thailand more than India. And he's there as on a medical conference. And
so we're thinking like doctor, pharmacist, something?
No, he's selling. He's selling.
Okay.
He's a seller, so he's selling medical equipment. And this is him talking about cannabis clubs and how he discovered the cannabis club in Madrid.
I'm from India. I came here for work purpose. I'm attending a conference here. But after the conference, I come here in the evening, maybe for half an hour to 1 hour to just chill out for some time.
Yeah.
And enjoy the away from work experience.
The vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot in Spain. These clubs, it's about a vibe.
I don't know. I mean, I will get that space when I'm in this zone. So since I am traveling for a few hours, I want to be in that zone.
Cool. How long are you in Spain for? Are you just in Madrid?
Yeah, I am here for this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you know about these lounges before you came here?
Yeah, I have found some information online, but nothing was confirmed until I landed here and walked inside.
Fantastic. So this is your first one, your first club?
Yeah.
And first time in a cannabis club?
In Spain, yes.
In Spain, okay. You've been, where else, what other countries have had this kind of model?
This kind of model, I think, is very similar to Thailand.
Thailand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Bangkok is a tourist hub, and Thailand legalized marijuana in non-advertised coffee shops.
Okay.
You can only smoke inside. Smoking on the streets or in the hotels or the public places is not allowed.
So no public consumption of cannabis?
No. So actually, I think this model is very good because it can serve both types of tourists well,
right,
their own needs without disturbing the others.
Right.
Yeah. So in Netherlands, it's completely different. If you go to Amsterdam, you can smell it everywhere on the streets. So there could be some kids walking by, some old families.
Right.
So they will have to go through that. But here and in Thailand, I think it's very nice the way they have organized these places.
So there are other people in the club, right? There's another fellow who is sitting off in the back, and I asked him if he'd give me a story. He said no. Meanwhile, my friend Steven, who also has a gerbil that can't stay still, is sitting watching me do this stuff. And I think there's points we can hear his voice in the background. These cannabis clubs are interesting. Now I'm pretty much a lightweight. I don't think it's any secret that I grow my own, and I'm learning how to grow cannabis, and I consume my own, and I like my homegrown. The stuff that I was procuring there was good cannabis. It altered my perceptions a few times. So it got to be interesting to be in these clubs and then to sort of walk outside and go, my God, I'm in Madrid.
How did I get here?
How did I get here? And what just happened? And is this legal? So I guess to conclude this.
So back to your thesis, Kirk. Is cannabis legal in Spain?
I don't know. It's decriminalized. Let's say that, right? One thing I did not do is I wasn't going to travel around with a hash pipe, so I wasn't buying no hash pipe. I left most of the reefers that I acquired in these clubs behind. At one point, again, I'm in Barcelona. I might be a little excitable sometimes. I think I'm a calm guy, but perceptions are maybe different. But I sit down and I do light up. I do light up because I'm in a legal club. So I believe I'm being legal. I'm following what I understand, and my pre-roll starts to canoe, and so the guys at one point in the conversation say, "Hey, you're a reefer," and I said, "So." And for those that understand canoeing, only the top burnt. So I don't know if it was my problem lighting it, but I never completed any of those reefers, right, that I acquired in these clubs. And most of the times I just laid them down in an ashtray and let them burn out, because to be honest, whenever I get into commercial weed, for me it's just overwhelming. My little homegrown is nice balance. I like it. So yeah, I don't know, Trevor, but I knew I wasn't going to get a criminal record, and I knew I wasn't going to get kicked out of the country. I don't know. It can be grown, it can be consumed privately, and I'm a member of this club. So I'm a member of the club, and I'm allowed to consume cannabis in these clubs. I returned home because, of course, I had lots of notes about this, and I am on a holiday with my wife. So from this point forward, I stopped going to cannabis clubs. I had my stories. We will have another episode where I was going into the accidentally going into the CBD stores, but that's for a different episode. I did come home and I did check laws, and I went to international web pages, and again, it'll be on our webpage, legalclarity.org, cms.law/English interior expert guides to travel. So what I want people to do is, before you go to these countries, make sure you understand the laws, as vague as they are. So it's my perception from what I've read is that I was within the laws and expectations of Spain. Sales to non-members is illegal. I was a member. The clubs are typically required. According to the webpage, typically you have to get an invitation to be in these. It's like the Masons. You have to be invited in, right? Okay. You have to ask permission and then be invited in. So you have to ask permission and be invited in. I did just that. I think I was being a competent nurse in the sense that I was getting consent to go in. Members are supposed to have a doctor's note, but no one that I talked to had any doctor's notes. While there's a legal status, it varies from community to community and jurisdiction to jurisdiction. These clubs generally aim to provide controlled environments. So I think what these clubs are is that the government allows it because it keeps cannabis confined, right? And you pay a membership fee and you are in a private place, and according to the laws, you can consume cannabis in a private place. Where that cannabis comes from is vague. I don't know. I don't speak the language. I couldn't figure that part out. What we need to know is that if you go, just do your research and be careful. I'm not recommending people go to these clubs. I went purely to get stories and to learn more about cannabis and how cannabis is perceived in international worlds. That was my goal. I want to understand cannabis. I consumed cannabis when I was there because, from what I can gather, it's acceptable. And walked away going, I still don't understand the cannabis laws in Spain. And as we go further, when I start talking to Peter Vermeil, he doesn't really know the cannabis laws. Well, he does, but he doesn't. He's just...
There seems to be a lot of ambiguity, and we'll compliment you. you did way more research than your typical tourist on, is this legal or not? So, even you doing all the extra research that I don't think your typical tourist would do, you're still confused. So I guess buyer beware, use your own judgment, do your own research, but it's not clear.
Well, the only problem in today's day and age, when you hear someone say, "I did my own research,"
well, yeah, that has its own connotations, but. If we're not talking about vaccines, do your own research.
Well, I went there, and I had done my research before I got to Spain, and I became a member of a club. So I had an assumption when as a Canadian citizen that, I became a member of a club, then I obviously can consume cannabis in Spain. Well, that club that I was a member of, I didn't send them any money. I just registered, said I was coming. So technically, I was not a member.
And then they didn't actually let you in.
They didn't. Well, they let Michelle in to go pee, but they didn't let me in to become a member. So, but every one of those clubs, I paid a fee or it was waived. Biohazard, like it was uncomfortable with how friendly they were. Come on in, show me your identification, expect some spam. I don't know. They were very gracious people. They were wonderful people. And as Steve and I were walking away from Biohazard, he just said, Kirk, they just want the story out there. They're just cannabis-centric people. And as you can hear from these stories, these are people that believe cannabis is helping them. Mm-hmm. And it's giving them a place to stay. And, we went 6.5 weeks, primarily in Morocco, where there's not a lot of alcohol, if any. There is alcohol, but you have to search it out. I essentially went on a 6.5-week vacation trip. I may have consumed alcohol out of those 6 weeks, maybe 4 or 5 days, and cannabis a few times in these clubs. But people go to Europe and drink wine and beer. Well, they also go to Europe to consume cannabis, right? Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to do with this story is show that here's the cannabis culture in Spain. There's cannabis in Spain, right? And maybe in the 60s, people smoked cannabis on the beach in Spain. Now they don't. Now in Spain, the cannabis consumption is done in clubs. So if you're going to Spain, figure out those clubs, find a welcoming club, pay your fee, and enjoy the questionable distribution of cannabis. Where did it come from? I don't know. Anyways, it was a fantastic experience.
No, I think that's a good place to end it. So I'm Trevor Schufeld. I'm the pharmacist. You are
Kirk Nyquist, the registered nurse. Still,
and we are
Reefer Madness, the podcast. And hey, did we say we're in the studio?
We're in the studio.
Yeah, we're in the studio. Thank you, Renee. And we are found at reefermed.ca. And all the research I've done, there will be pictures. This will probably be one of the most illustrated pages on our website. There may be some video because we are recording some video here. Yeah.
All right. It's been another good one. We'll come back next with another Spanish/Moroccan thing. Can't wait to hear the next installment.
We're going to have another story on Spain, and it's going to be focused on the resale of CBD products. And then we'll have a few stories from Morocco, and we've got a story from Peter Vermeil. Yeah, this was 6 weeks of Kirk gathering stories.
All right. Until next time.
I guess now we're going to who uses these clubs. No?
Yes. No. That's perfect. Kirk, let's circle back.
Okay.